Hi, and welcome to 6 of the Dropping Turds vlog. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the tools that I mentioned that I use earlier this week. I'm going to talk about this project backlog and what that is, how you use it, and we're going to walk through a really key exercise in product design. We're going to walk through backlog prioritization. So this product backlog, basically what this is a place to do three key things. You want to come up with ideas for products. You want to flex your product design and UX design skills on the regular, and you want to build a portfolio for product design or user experience design. Those two are like cousins because you can put user experience design projects in here and you can put product design ideas in here. So what this does is it gives you a framework for collecting problems and ideas that you can work on, and you can prioritize them. And it also helps you to sharpen up some key product design skills like problem statements, personas, and basically breaking down a project for a product into these little buckets that you can use as when you deliver them, and then also breaking out the tests so you can scope your product idea a lot better. So here down at the top. All right, so what I'm going to do today, my goal for this is number one, I'm going to talk about some of the key skills that you will need to develop for using this particular backlog. And I'm just assuming that you are a brand new product designer or UX designer, and you are trying to build out your portfolio using this method. So the number one thing you're going to need to develop, which I'm still practicing on with this product idea, with this project backlog, is problem statement writing. So a product is not the same thing as like a business. A business can have products, but a business usually functions to from the business owner standpoint. The business usually functions to work towards a goal, a business strategy, values, mission. It's something that's really a lot more nebulous, a lot more broader in scope, because when you have a business, you are you're ongoing. You want to keep it alive. You're not just there's no really necessarily an end until you close your business. But a product may have a firm scope for solving a problem. So if you were trying to add to your portfolio and you did go to, let's say you go to a friend who owns their own business and you want to offer your services as, hey, I'm trying to fix my portfolio, you need to come up with an idea for a problem that or a goal that you can solve for that business in order to pitch them product design. You can't just go and say, hey, I'm a product. That's like you normally would. Hey, I'm a product designer. I want to design something for you. That will come across the wrong way because everybody thinks, well, the business owner or the founder or whoever's running it, they would come up with the ideas for how the business works. You've got to scope and pare your product design projects down if you're going to start selling them to others. Now, if you're going to start with your own products and build your own products, then you can kind of pitch them that way. I'm a product designer and this is what I do. And you make a business around that product. So that's the part that's really key here. And I'm going to show you about 40 of my ideas. Some of them are pared down enough and some of them are still works in progress. Remember, I said for a product designer, you've got to be able to write clean, clear product statements. There are product statement templates that you can use. And also there's like a library of problem statement vocabulary that are helpful in building problem statements to start out with. And so I've kind of consulted both of these. I cannot remember where I found one of them, the problem statement like vocabulary, but it tells you basically you're going to be putting in an action word, you're going to be putting in an audience, and you're going to be putting in a product. Those three parts need to be included in your problem statement. So when I started working, the problem statement in the project's backlog is the first column. And so there's a couple of ways that you can do this to begin with. Number one, when I kind of figure out what problem I want to target for a product or a user experience improvement, I kind of start out with a user narrative, a first person narrative of my experience with the problem. And it usually winds up being very wordy, a lot of words. And it's like a paragraph, or I'll spend 3 paragraphs sometimes in a my Apple Notes app, writing out a narrative of a problem. What happened, how did it start, how did I discover that it was a problem, why I don't like it, what my process is currently to try to solve it. All those details, I'll jot those out so that I can get some clear. It's really that's really a first person observational user research tactic, but you want to get a clear understanding of the problem. And of course, if you've experienced the problem or you know something about the problem, why not start with yourself? You can get that information right away. And I feel like it gives you a direction to go in when you're starting to seek out the rest of your research for your problem. So this top one, I am a married man for nearly 13 years. Okay, this is a fact. I really want to take care of our relationship and bring back the passion in the bedroom, which is key to staying married. How might I recruit my wife to prioritize my time to engage in adventurous, surprising, and fun ideas with me? Okay, so as you guys know, this vlog is not for kids. It's for product designers and more of a mature audience. So in this particular product, I am going to be talking about a big relationship problem, and that is kind of combating divorce. I personally am married for 13 years. And, as you get married or you're in a relationship, one of the things, especially as a guy, is how do you keep that spark going? Okay. So this is this is a standard problem. Everybody might not, it's kind of a personal problem, and I have no problem sharing personal with my audience. So I consider you guys to be my friends, and you probably have the same problems as well. So if this makes you giggle, sorry about that. That's just the first problem that, it's core in my values and my beliefs. So this problem is in here. I've always wanted to, and so this is the problem. My problem statement right there. I don't know how clear it is. Like, how might I recruit my wife? That recruit is the key word. Is recruiting possible? Sure, it is, but you really don't really recruit your wife to do something she's probably already halfway into. You've kind of got to, I need a better word in that problem statement. So that's why this one is not bolded. The problem statement is not really ready. The user experience problem. It's a complex personal problem, meaning that there are several user experiences that need to be addressed in order to create a product or a experience for this. And for the complex problems, what you want to do is you want to do a blueprint or a map of the problem and figure out certain specific touch points, scenarios that you can target for a product in that situation. Overall, this would be like a business idea, because you could take this idea and say, how do I help husbands to be better husbands for their wives as far as bonding and whatever that is, however you would clearly say that. Okay, so that's something that husbands want to do, and it's an experience that they probably have problems with. So I can take that and make a whole slew of products, suite of products and services to solve that problem. And that's not really a product. That is, like I said, that's more of a business, because you need to brand that. You have a target audience. So that's why this one in here needs to be simplified. And the way this backlog works is I can take a problem like that one and I can bring it over here. And as you see at the bottom, I have simplified what the problem is: marriage, sexual reconnection. And so that's the topic. And then what I've done is I've broken out this into ideas for products that I can make from that one particular product. So how might I improve my awareness of my partner's loving acts and affection? Part of the problem with like 13 years is you start to get less aware of you know certain things about your partner, you know certain things about how they do things, and you get into a pattern, but it makes you less aware of the feeling and the meaning behind the pattern as you get into a marriage and you're in there for so long and you're with the same person and you're seeing their routine, and you know every time she wants a hug she does this or she says this one thing or she gets in this one mood, and so that means, okay, give me a hug. And then you're like, well, I don't want to give a hug, so you don't do it. It just kind of, you become null and you forget about the feelings that your partner has. So how can you regain that same feeling? How can you get back those same feelings? That is a key UX exploration research project. So what I would do with that is I've taken this whole big idea and a problem and I've shrunk it down to one scenario, and then now I can make a project or a problem. I'm sorry, a product. I got the three words. I can make a product that helps to solve this affection awareness problem. Okay, so now what I can do is take that one problem, now that I've broken it, big complex problem, down into something that can be productized. I now can put together the scope of the project. So there's three or four, user experience. There's steps to the process. These are some high level action task lists that you can use to make sure that you are going forward. Identify the problem you solve, which you will have done. Decide on the scope. And at the bottom of this, there are a checklist to help you decide on the scope. Make your project plan, basically put dates and schedule when you're going to get things done. Create your career project diary. So this means you're going to add this particular product into your project diary, and there's a link to how that works. Then you start to do the project, and once you complete the project, you complete all your tasks that you've put in your project plan. Then you want to write a case study that you've either solved or did not solve the problem. And both of those are very useful, because if you did not solve the problem, you need to write in your learnings and outcomes and decide on what the next step is. If you need to do the product again, or whether you're going to learn and rebuild, or if you decided that, hey, this problem is something that you're going to have to live with, how can I help people cope with it? In this particular case, marriage, people live with a lot of things. They sometimes have to reprioritize. And if regaining that awareness is something that is not possible for on a particular purpose, or if this is a product and you're trying to sell it or you're trying to develop an audience for it, maybe you decide people do not want to pay me for this particular product. You figure out, is it me that they don't want to pay, or can I have somebody else do it, or can I recommend them to go someone else? Are they paying counselors for it? Turns you into you may have to pivot that product into a different direction so that you can still move forward. But whether or not you solve the problem or not, writing your case study will give you a good way to take your work and share it with others so that they can see your approach to solving problems. And then you actually have something that you can actually sell for your time. So it makes your time worthwhile. So writing that case study is really key, especially if you're using this for projects. Whether or not you solve the problem and have a successful product or not, write the case study. When you write the case study, you then want to add the project to your portfolio. And by that, I mean, so I've written out case studies, and I have a case study template in here. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yes, so here's one that I'm working on right now. There's a whole nother product, a whole nother course that I can suggest if you're trying to write case studies. Sarah Duty does have a project case study writing template, which is pretty good. I use a guy named Oz Chen. He has a very good and easy product case study template. It's part of a course that teaches you how to write UX projects. But this is my case study idea. So what I've done is I've taken a product which I personally, one of my products in my projects in my career diary is I founded an analytics program for a global corporate company, a Fortune 100 company in oil and gas. It was a pretty big project. It took about 5 to 6 years. When I started the project, we did not have an analytics program, and I was trying to solve the problem of measuring our multi-million dollar website redesign project. And so that's it. So I had to break that big project down into, again, 4 phases. You can see how I wrote this. So this is the same. This is exactly what a case study looks like. What I'm bringing this up to show you, it's a little bit of a tangent, but is that a case study and the writing is not really presentable. It is, but you got a lot of reading here, and users don't really like to read. So when you put a project case study and you put it in your actual portfolio, you'll need to add, where's my work for what I'm going to add to it? You see, I have a lot of work open. I can't find it. Let me see. Well, I'm not going to add that in here. But what you need to do is you need to add in visuals. You need to add in artifacts. You'll need to add in testimonials. You need to add in pictures, even if they're not, they're stock art pictures of what you actually accomplished. But you need to give visuals. You need to give examples. You can put in movies. You need to put in documentation from that experience. When you add a case study to a portfolio, it's not enough to just write your case study and smack that up there. And that's one of the things I'm learning right off the bat. That's because your user for your portfolio is a customer as well. And just seeing the raw data of what you did, it doesn't really share with them the experience that you created. So you need to add in your project to your portfolio. And it usually makes a lot of sense to figure out how you're going to deliver that. If this is going to be if you start your product idea with the idea that I'm going to add this to my portfolio in your project plan, you want to add in what you're looking to try to have your portfolio for, so that you can capture the right documents and artifacts during the creation and during the product process, the project process, that you didn't have footage and stuff to put in. So once you've done that, Sarah's also added in here, tweet Sarah to let her know. But so this gives you, again, I've talked you all the way through from start to finish, how you can take an idea, a problem that you have, chop it down, break it down into segments and parts, use your problem statement writing to create and isolate a project or a product that you can deliver. Then you're gonna plan the work. You're gonna get the work done, and these are, in terms of scoping, this is what you can use to scope. So for a jack of all trades, fuzzy guy like myself, this part is awesome. Now you can track your progress on it, so you can see. I'm gonna do. Let's say, for instance, we're gonna take our married guy, our 13-year married guy who wants to develop. What do we say? He wants to improve his awareness of his partner's affection and loving acts. Basically, that means, like, I want to react better when she gives me kisses. When she makes my lunch in the morning, I want to notice that. I want to. How can I notice? And get better in tune with her intentions when she rubs my back when we're sitting on the TV watching. Sitting on the sofa watching TV. I'm sorry. Or how can I be more in tune and say something sweet when she invites me to ride to the store with her to pick up the groceries? Those things are boring, right? It sounds boring, but when you're married, those are your dates. I mean, like before I was married, this is a tangent. I'm sorry. Before I was married, I used to call my wife up and say, "Hey, let's go do something fun," and we used to go out. But as you become married, my date literally might include, especially now we're in lockdown, my date literally might include, "Hey, you want to sit down and watch the Tiger King on Netflix while we eat lunch for 15 minutes?" And that's it. And how do I become more in tune and more present in that? How do I say sweet stuff and make that really mundane thing into my date? That's hard. It's difficult, but that's where my life is right now. Anyway, that tangent was to really say I'm trying to scope my project. I'm trying to scope my project on becoming more aware of my partner's uh, loving acts so that I can improve my bonding. What part of my project do I want to do? So it's just me doing it. Do I want to do topic and business research? This might include something like the scope of my project for solving this is to provide a research and analysis of for 13-year-old married couples that are having marriage plans. Maybe you can deliver a product such as uh, a therapist, a marriage therapist chooser. I personally have experience because I've tried to pick out a relationship therapist, and it is not easy. You've got several places you can go. You can get insurance. You can do your own researches. You've got several different payment models. You can pay out of pocket because some of them don't charge out of pocket. I mean, don't charge the insurance, and some of them charge this special insurance or special program that you may or may not have called your EAP program, employee assisted program. Uh, so you've got payment, you've got where you find them, then you've got treatment and therapy philosophies, you've got reviews and customer experience. It's difficult. So you've got to put all this information together. And usually you're in a traumatic situation when you go to marriage counseling or therapy counseling. So you're kind of like not want to do all this work. And then you got to get your customers buying on them. So you can see doing research, like I want to help improve my customers' awareness by putting together topical research on therapists. That is a product that somebody can actually use because now you actually have done the work for them. And you're adding customer value by solving this particular problem or helping them to achieve their goal. By definition, that's what a product does. Competitive analysis, same thing. These are research projects that you can do that will take some time. You'll want to get organized, but you could actually do these and come up with a product for your portfolio. If maybe product and experience design is your jam, you can maybe do a phone call to one and see, hey, I want to, or actually not a phone call. If you're trying to improve analysis, improve awareness of your partner's experience, you might want to do some sort of an observational study, or you can interview someone else's partner and see how they objectively respond to their partner. So, like, you'd have to find a relationship or friends who are married in a similar type of a way, have a scope that's similar to yours. Like, your friends are married for 14 years, and you can say, hey, at 13 years, or y'all are closely married to the same time as me, and you would need to then kind of tap that relationship to do some experience design. You can write a journey map. I mean, so you want to scope down which parts of your project you're going to do. You don't have to pick all of these. I would definitely say you maybe want to pick one or two when you're designing your project plan up here, and then put some dates down, plan your activities, gather your tools together, get your work done, and then start to capture any sort of uh, feasible evidence from that process so that you can put it in your portfolio. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a pretty artifact, but you do want to capture your work. You want to show your work more so than just writing out this long, like you saw my those templates. Yeah, so there you go. So if you turn it into any sort of product, you can do interface design, and that doesn't necessarily mean just like an app. Like I said, if you did do user research, you might turn that into a white sheet or a shareable table that you could, put up and share on Facebook. Hey, here's therapists in my area. You might do some sort of a campaign, and when you do your product design, and so maybe your visual design is your campaign or your media results. There's other interfaces. Basically interface design. It doesn't have to just be like an app or a website. Interface design would be any kind of interaction that you your user is going to have with the solution. So like I said, it could be something that's written. It could actually be like a phone interface design. Like you might put down a workflow for how you might do some sort of a phone type of a solution, like call in, like, hey, there's a a helpline for husbands who are doing this, and you might write down the steps that in the script that you use for the interfacing with customers calling in. So I mean, an interface design, it doesn't have to just be, like I said, it doesn't have to be technical. You can do whatever you want, however you do your solution, however your interaction occurs with your users interact with the solution. That would be your interface design. So you can get creative there. Again, some of the other these are just suggestions. These are some other design options: style guide, branding guide, design spec. So yeah, there you go. Let me go back to the top. I'm almost done here, and I thank you very much for your patience, for your attention, because this is kind of a longer post than I anticipated. So where do you come up with these ideas? So that was just one idea, and again, that was a personal observation that I have, a personal experience. So this is kind of like a scratch your own itch idea. You can create these product ideas in a lot of different ways. Another way you can, if you watch Product Hunt, or if you're the type of person who likes to look at gadgets and stuff, you might try Trend Hunter or even Quirky. Those are places where you can go and see people's products that they've already designed. And what you can do is do your own, I'm going to improve on a product, or I'm going to take a trend and I'm going to make a product that goes onto a trend. I'm actually currently taking the product design course on Udacity. It's a free course, and there's a chapter on there where they talk about 4 or 5 different ways that you can come up with new product ideas. That might be a place where you would start. Another thing you can do is, if you are just like myself, and I read my Google feed every morning, you can read Google and Google News and see that there's a problem that exists and write in somebody else's problem. Or if you do some reviewing of user reviews, you go to Better Business Bureau and look at user complaints. You can find problems anywhere. The key is you want to find a problem that you are able to commit to solving. So it needs to be. I would encourage you to find a problem that you are authentically inspired to solve for your portfolio. If you're just trying to build a portfolio because you're starting your own agency, you need to find problems that you can get paid for. So finding the product ideas is not as difficult as possible. I've also added to mine, because again, I'll find ideas, and again, I have 40 and I want to try to shrink this down to 20. But I'll often come up with ideas on my own, a lot of scratch your itch ideas that don't necessarily have an external user. Because your problem, if you're going to make a product, unless you're really just making something as a side project, you're going to want more users than just yourself. So it's got to be, your problem statement needs to be framed in a way that it applies to other people as well, or whoever your users are. So I have this section here to remind myself, who is the product supposed to serve? Who am I trying to make this for? And a lot of times I'll think about myself objectively, and I'll fill that in, so that if I'm actually selling this product to someone else, or trying to get this product to an audience, I actually know where to start. So I'll be looking for husbands of 10 or more years who are dual working parents. That's who this product is for. And that just describes me in a more objective way. And that way I actually have a customer. So when I tell somebody, hey, I have this product for this person, it serves this purpose, this is the type of project it is, I can look at there and see the problem. This is where the topics are, because you can see I run the gamut on different topics. And then you'll also want to figure out these are other areas that I've added in: scale of the opportunity, because you'll need to pick which project you're going to work on first. You can't work on like 6. I've kind of reminded myself that to stay authentic by putting this interest level section, so I can kind of measure. I know I was this interested in this one. I'm not that interested in that one. And what I'll do is hide or I'll delete. And then the strategic due diligence section, what that is for me is I like to look up, I like to innovate. So I aspire to innovate. So I'll look up to see what opportunity there is to actually sell the product or actually grow an audience from the product. Is there a high competition? Is there keyword, opportunity on SEO? Is it timely? Whatever. That's what that due diligence section is for. I'll put some notes in there. And then lastly, what actually inspired the idea? If it was not just like a scratch your own itch idea, a lot of the times I'll read stuff, and as I'm reading stuff and browsing, I'll come across, oh, that sounds like an interesting problem I'd like to tackle or solve, or I'd love to see what the solution to that is. I'll put the source for the inspiration in there, so sometimes I can go back. I can just go back to where I started and re-inspire myself if I need motivation. So that is the project, problem, product, all three of those backlog. And I'll use this again to kind of help with the fuzziness. This is where I usually start with a lot of my ideas, this place in my journal. But this is a very structured approach for taking all of your fuzzy creativeness and turning it into something that you can actually deliver. That was my goal for this particular episode. Again, I'll be back tomorrow recording another one. One day, I would love to start to work through this episode. Like I've shown you my journal, my yellow, famous yellow journal. I'd love to be able to walk through something like this and say, hey, this is the problem statement. This is what I actually delivered. I'm not there yet. I'm still focusing, but awesome. All right. So long, and I'll thank you very much and see you later.